And I'm back. This is a middle perch on the internet. I'm MK on the MIC live. And I just made this track this morning and figured out that I can use this fire, which is very inexpensive, as the source sound. And we can also use this to show video or other things, independent of casting it within the frame of the deal here. That's pretty cool, right? I didn't really realize we could do that. And so now I'm Bluetoothing from here. Don't have that phone issue we were having before. Yeah. Okay, today is Tuesday, October 22nd. It is the 295th day of this year. That means there's only 70 days left. 70 days left. And we've got a waxing moon going toward a new moon on Sunday. It'll be a new moon. And then a week after that, we'll be going back an hour as daylight savings time will be ending. That's 12 days from today. And that's the new opening track. I stuck that on the YouTube. You can check that out too. But look, we can now actually just look at stuff on YouTube, which I think is cool. Because the other day something happened that I was pretty excited about. Back in 2012, when the Giants won the World Series. Whoops, there's ads in this thing. The Giants won the World Series, and my son and I were followed by San Francisco Giants Productions because we made a video. We made a little video. It was a 1-minute video contest showing how you're a fan, and my son and I made a video, and they picked us, and so they followed us during the playoffs, and we were back against the wall 6 times or something total. But in the NLCS, it was quite a few. And we ended up winning everything against everyone's perceptions. And we swept Detroit in the World Series, which was crazy. But so they made these videos, like these, SFG Productions videos covering the games, and they have like, cool music and stuff, and a great narrator. But we were one of the people they followed, right? So
this is Inside the Club.
So today's game, son. Who's on the mound? And what do you think? You can handle the Cards today? I sure hope so too. The Cardinals could win it all, right? They could take the pennant. There's only one man standing between. No, that's what everybody can say all day. There's only one man, but there's not one man, is there? There's how many?
There's only one team.
That's right, 25 guys, right? One common goal: win today, right?
Well, this is the biggest moment. This is probably the only reason why, we were able to get back to San Francisco against St. Louis. Was there was an inning early on where
and it just starts going into the story of the thing. And now that was when they originally released this. That was the beginning of the episode, which was about all of us fans. And that episode ended up winning a sports Emmy, which was like a surprise and funny. And now 7 years later, and then, so then by 2013 or 2014, I don't think you could find it online. I had a link up to it when I had my blog, Giants Baseball Corner. And by the way, Giants Baseball Corner you can get to through the archive as well. It's It's just right there. And I was sitting somewhere watching the ALCS game between the Astros and the Yankees. And I was kind of just chilling out, right? I was like watching the ball game. Actually, I was early. The game hadn't started yet. And so I was killing time. And often when I'm killing time, I'll go on MLB.com, the Giants site or whatever. And the Giants had been putting up archival videos recently from SF Giants Productions. And right when I'm sitting down to wait for the ALCS to come on, they put up that one, which has us in it, of the NLDS and NLCS. And it was super cool and exciting. It just happened like 3 days ago. So that's kind of cool. You can find that somewhere. And then they haven't put up the World Series one yet. Now the World Series starts tonight. And I was thinking they might put up the World Series one. And I know my son and I are in that one too. So it's a flashback 7 years ago. My son is 10 in that footage. I'm 42. It's pretty crazy. Who's that? Duck boy. What's going on? All right. So today let me get some music on first. Here we go. Now that I'm using this thing instead of the phone, it's more chill. Let's see if we can just get music coming out of this thing. Trying to find something decent here.
Every small town has its nice girl.
See, that's the problem. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this off now. But I basically just wanted to see whether or not I could do that. And I can run from this. But what we have been doing is using the phone, which is where all the music really is. So I'm going to go find that right now. Yeah, there we go. And let's hear that one again. Sometime during the show, we'll do that. Let's see here. And today we're going to read the Harpers Index. That's one of the things we're doing. So that's coming up next. Nice. Okay, so Harpers Index, what we're doing today. Once I shut this thing down. I'm enthusiastic about the fact that I can now use this. That's cool. Okay, Harpers Index. We haven't done the October Harpers Index. We're doing that today. But I got the November issue, so we'll read that one maybe tomorrow or some other one of these days. Harpers Index, of course, is the Harpers Index. It's a list of statistics that they have looked up, researched, pulled the facts down from wherever they are from, and they have put them into the magazine. Harper's Magazine, of course, the second oldest continuously published magazine, the oldest monthly magazine in the United States of America. June 1850 it began. Harper's Index is cool, just data. So here we go. Percentage of U.S. album sales represented by classical music, 2.5%. Of U.S. music streams, 0.7%. That's 0.7% of music streams are classical music. Amount spent globally on virtual goods within video games last year, $93 trillion. $93 trillion. Factor by which an American aged 8 to 12 is more likely to want to be a YouTuber or vlogger than to be an astronaut. That's an interesting one. 3 times more more likely to want to be a YouTuber or vlogger than an astronaut. Kids aged 8 to 12. Percentage of U.S. heterosexual couples who met in 2017 and who did so using a dating app, 38% in 2017. Of homosexual couples, 65%. The estimated percentage decline from 1982 to 2017 in the number of gay bars in the United States, 40% decline between 82 to 2017. Minimum factor by which the average American overestimates the U.S. LGBTQ population, 5 times the size of the actual LGBTQ population. The average American overestimates the size of the LGBTQ population. Portion of Republicans who say small businesses should be able to refuse services to homosexuals for religious reasons. 1 into 50% of Republicans say small businesses should be able to refuse services to homosexuals for religious reasons. In 2014, it was only 20%, 1/5. Percentage of Mexicans who believe migrants from Central America on their way to the United States should be deported. This is of Mexicans who believe that migrants from Central America, other parts who are on their way to the United States should be deported, 55%. Percentage by which remittances flowing into El Salvador from abroad exceeded Salvadoran social spending last year, 59% more money came in than the amount the Salvadorans can spend. Portion of Salvadorian, here, this thing's starting to be rather annoying, so how do I kill this thing? I just want to kill the chat, dude. I guess I can't once the stream has started. All right, well, Babylon, if you must, I suppose. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. 59% more remittances flowing into El Salvador from abroad. And the portion of Salvadorian GDP that's accounted for by remittances is 1/5, 20% of the GDP of El Salvador. Number of U.S. representatives and senators who are naturalized American citizens, 14. Representatives and senators are naturalized American citizens. Number of those who are Democrats, I bet you can guess it, 14. Rank of Donald Trump among G20 leaders with the biggest carbon footprint last year, 2nd. He had the biggest carbon footprint. The first was Shinzo Abe. Percentage of cases in which Trump's 2 appointees to the Supreme Court agreed during the last term, 70% of cases they agreed. In which Barack Obama's 2 appointees agreed, 88%. Number of think tanks in the United States, 1,872. Factor which this figure has increased since 1980, twice. So 2 times as many nowadays. Minimum number of national and state bills written by industry groups, corporations, or think tanks from 2010 to 2018, 10,000 bills across the country written by industry groups, corporations, or think tanks. 10,000 bills. The number that were signed into law, 2,100 of them were signed into law. So we're talking about just people with vested interests bombing state legislatures and trying to change laws is what we're talking about. The number of state legislatures that are controlled by a single party, 49%. So it's almost right down the middle. One party controls 49% of state legislatures. Number of U.S. states with higher per capita incarceration rates than every other country in the world. 31 states in the United States have a higher per capita incarceration rate than every other country in the world. Estimated number of people who died between 2014 and 2017 as a result of states refusing to expand Medicaid, 15,600. Percentage of American adults who think the Iraq War was not worth fighting. 62% of American adults think the Iraq War was not worth fighting. Of veterans, 64% of American adult veterans think the Iraq War was not worth fighting. The number of countries whose militaries had drones in 2010, 4 countries in 2010, their militaries had drones. Whose militaries have them today? 33 countries today. Reminds me of that scene in Iron Man. Portion of violent protest movements seeking regime change from 1900 to 2014 that were successful. Violent protest movements seeking regime change from 1900, so in 114 years, 1 out of 4. Of nonviolent protest movements, 1 out of 2. Portion of Americans under 35 who say they are often angry when checking the news. 2 out of 5 Americans under 35 say they are often angry when checking the news. Of Americans over 65, 1 out of 5 Americans say they are often angry when checking the news. Percentage of Americans aged 22 to 28 who say they have begun saving money. Between the ages of 22 and 28, 67% say they have begun saving money. Portion of those saving money who are putting away less than $50 a month, 1/5. So 20% of them are putting away less than $50 a month. Percentage of Americans who claim to lose sleep over financial worries, 56% of Americans claim to lose sleep over financial worries. Percentage of American office workers who have cried at work, 45% of American office workers have cried at work. Estimated chance that smiling will improve a person's mood. 1 in 14 chance that smiling will improve a person's mood. That is the Harpers Index for October. You know, you can go to harpers.org and you can get yourself a subscription. That would be a good idea.